So here we are on the latter stages of a flight into Queenstown. It's an interesting approach because it brings you down into the mountains, and only pilots with special qualifications can actually do this. This is an instant replay, so there's nobody sitting in the seats. I've done this flight for real a couple of times, and it is a pretty amazing experience, especially on a beautiful day. It's an RNAV approach, which means that aircraft that are properly equipped can actually do this with limited visibility. Must be pretty scary. Something that's only recently been done, and to begin with, I believe only Air New Zealand pilots were allowed to do it. Jetstar could only do it during fine weather. You can start seeing the Queenstown strobe lights at the end of the runway. And that, I think, is the Shotover River, where they do the jet boat experiences. So you can see it's early evening. I've got all my instrument lights on, my overhead panel, dimmed down with a red light at night. Coming down. Flight instruments on the left, engine instruments in the centre, and then navigation and radio information here, flight plan, VAT-nav, and then just above the throttle quadrants we've got undercarriage lever, flap indicator and parking brake, throttle quadrants, 2 radio stacks and a few more bright lights. So runway's well in sight now. Approach is looking pretty good at the moment. Speed is a little bit high. And that was coming back. I did get a little bit low on this approach, but not dangerously low. I was able to recover it quite nicely. It's Lake Wakatipu in the distance, and Queenstown sort of is located just above the runway on the opposite side, on the right hand side of the lake. So everything's looking pretty good. Speed is 120, just getting a little bit low there. Height is good, and we're on the localizer. There's no actual ILS here, but we're nicely centered on the center line. Let's see if we can get the lighting right. So I'm sort of hovering between 1 white light and 3 reds. Ideally you should have 2 whites and 2 reds. Speed is good. Got full flaps and undercarriage down. So get a bit low. Just open up the throttle a little bit just to carry us over the threshold. Back to 1 light. Final adjustments on the centre line. Coming over the threshold and closing the throttles and flaring the aircraft onto the runway. I think I did a bit of a bounce on this one. And there we are, speed coming back. Spoiler was deployed. 60 knots. Spoiler coming up, flaps coming up. Cleaning up the aircraft and just taxiing now down the runway to the runway exit. There's basically only one runway exit at Queenstown, and there's no taxiways on either side of the runway, so you have to back taxi to get to the end of the runway for takeoff, and likewise if you're landing in the opposite direction you'd need to back taxi back down the runway to get off the to get off it. Terminal buildings in Franklin, which is a suburb of Queenstown. Easy exit. Wasn't quite sure which gate to go to. I normally go to gate 3, but then pushing back from that is a little bit tricky, so I made the decision to go to gate 4, which is just a little bit further around the corner there. There's gate 4 just over there, so I need to go down a little bit further. Follow the bend of the taxiway. Go. Following the yellow brick road into the gate. A couple of happy little Charlies on the side there, ready to take the bags off the aircraft. And there we are at Queenstown Airport. It's a great flight from Christchurch to Queenstown. Great flying anywhere in New Zealand, quite frankly. And there we go. Bye now.